Hi, thank you for being interested in hearing about my recent and upcoming research. My name is Janine Firmender. I am a professor here in the Teacher Education Department at St. Joseph's University. I've been here for 4 years now, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about the research that I've been doing and some of my interest areas in educational research. The first thing I'll talk about are my research interests. A couple different areas of interests, and then also the integration of some of these as well. My first research interest is really lies in gifted education. This is where some of my teaching background is, as well as some of my graduate level work is in gifted education and looking at how do we meet the needs of students that are academically talented in both the regular classroom and in any other sort of educational setting that they might be involved in or identified for. My other main area of interest in research is in the area of mathematics education, primarily in the elementary or primary grades. And I've also been interested in mathematics curriculum and how do we look at curriculum and how do we have teachers interpret curriculum in order to provide academic learning opportunities for their students. And so I tend to focus more of my research into kind of the integration of these two areas. A third sort of more recent interest has emerged in terms of technology integration in both of these areas. I'm particularly interested in a project that I'll talk about in a few minutes related to technology integration in math ed. And so I'll also mention some of my recent research projects that have come to completion. The first one here is a study about mathematical writing prompts that I did with some colleagues up at the University of Connecticut and that we just recently presented at the National Council for Teachers of Mathematics Research Conference last week. And so what we did with this study was we looked at the writing prompts that are provided for students in grade 3 across 9 different curriculum resources. And in all, we looked at 1,949 writing prompts and analyzed them for their characteristics and for the types of writing that they were asking students to do. Here's what we found. We found that, first of all, there's a great variety in the types of prompts that students are asked to write about, ranging from asking students to define a term or write a sentence or compare and contrast two things, but the most frequently used prompts were really asking students to explain what they did or explain why they thought, to explain their reasoning, to explain why. However, the majority of these was really asking how students arrived at their answer, focusing more on procedural understanding as opposed to conceptual understanding. A lot of them were not necessarily asking students to reason about their mathematical thinking, but to provide a justification for how they solved a problem. And so what we really found was that we need a clear definition of mathematical writing for students in the elementary grades, and then also a set of recommendations that will work for students at the elementary grades. And so more research needs to be done in this area. For example, how often should students be asked to write? And what types of questions really lend themselves to students explaining and demonstrating their understanding of concepts or in mathematics. Another recent completed project of mine is looking at teachers' instructional practices in primary level mathematics. The teachers that were involved in this study had participated in a larger study called Project M Squared, in which they implemented advanced level geometry and measurement units with their students in kindergarten, first, and second grade. And I took a look at the level of teachers' implementation of a couple of instructional practices that were embedded within this curriculum, and then looked at the teachers' level of implementation and compared that to the achievement of the students in those classrooms. And so what I found was that when teachers engage students in oral mathematical communication, the more teachers did that, the higher their students' achievement. So that was positively related to students' achievement. Also positively related to students' achievement was the use of encouraging students to use appropriate mathematical vocabulary in both oral and written communication. So when teachers did these two things, they had students with higher achievement on an open response mathematics assessment. On the horizon for me is a couple of different projects. First, looking at how can we meet the needs of mathematically talented students through engaging them in mathematical writing that revolves around higher order thinking skills and exploring their conceptual understanding of mathematics. Also, looking into investigating the construct of mathematical writing a little bit more. Again, what kinds of writing lend themselves to having students demonstrate their mathematical understanding more than others? How often should students write? What characteristics should that writing take on? And looking into that a little bit more. Another piece that I had mentioned a little bit earlier was I'm also interested in, the technology tools that we might be able to use or that teachers might be able to use to really uncover or reveal students' mathematical thinking and how that technology might be beneficial and how that might lend to teachers understanding what students understand in a little bit more of a comprehensive way. Thank you again. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I look forward to talking with you about my research.